The rebel voice of ancient India. Imagine living in a world where every aspect of life is controlled by rituals, priests, sacrifices, and fear of the afterlife. Ancient India was deeply religious. People believed that suffering and happiness were controlled by karma from previous lives. The Vedas were considered absolute truth. Priests claimed they alone understood reality. Most philosophical schools accepted concepts like soul, rebirth, heaven, hell, and liberation. But in the middle of this spiritual atmosphere, a shocking voice emerged. A philosophy that rejected all of it. No soul, no rebirth, no heaven, no karma, no invisible God controlling your fate. This philosophy was called Charvaka, also known as Lokayata, the philosophy of the common people, and it became one of the most controversial ideas in Indian history. Charvaka is often described as India's first materialist thinker. Though historians debate whether Charvaka was a real individual or a symbolic founder, the philosophy associated with his name directly challenged the religious structure of ancient society. The Charvakas believed that only the physical world is real. If something cannot be seen, touched, heard, or experienced through the senses, then it should not be blindly accepted. For them, direct perception was the only reliable source of knowledge. This idea sounds simple today, but in ancient India it was revolutionary, because almost every major philosophical tradition believed in invisible realities. Hindu schools believed in Atman and Brahman. Buddhists believed in rebirth and karma. Jains believed in the eternal soul trapped in karmic matter. But Charvaka rejected all of them. According to Charvaka philosophy, the universe is made of material elements. Human beings are nothing more than combinations of matter. Consciousness itself comes from the body, just like intoxication comes from mixing ingredients in alcohol. When the body dies, consciousness disappears. That's it. No soul flying into another world. No cosmic judgment. No rebirth. Death is the end. This was perhaps the most shocking claim in Indian philosophy. The Charvakas criticized religious rituals harshly. They argued that priests invented complex ceremonies not for truth, but for money and power. They mocked animal sacrifices performed in the name of religion. One famous Charvaka argument asks, if an animal sacrificed in a ritual goes directly to heaven, then why doesn't the priest sacrifice his own father? This sarcastic question attacked the logic behind ritual violence and exposed what Charvakas saw as hypocrisy. They also criticized the Vedas themselves. Most Indian schools considered the Vedas sacred and eternal, but Charvakas rejected their authority completely. They claimed the Vedas were written by ordinary humans, not divine beings. To them, religious scriptures were full of contradictions, fear tactics, and meaningless promises about the afterlife. The Charvakas believed religion often manipulates people by exploiting fear. Fear of hell, fear of sin, fear of rebirth, fear of punishment after death. According to them, humans become easy to control when they fear invisible consequences. Instead of fear, Charvaka philosophy emphasized living fully in the present world. One of the most famous verses associated with Charvaka says, "As long as you live, live happily. Borrow money and drink ghee. Once the body turns to ashes, it never returns." This line made Charvakas famous and infamous. Critics accused them of promoting selfish pleasure and irresponsible living. Religious philosophers portrayed them as immoral atheists who encouraged people to indulge in desires without concern for ethics. But the reality is more complicated. The Charvakas were not simply promoting mindless pleasure. Their core message was that this life is the only life we know exists. Therefore, human happiness matters here and now, not in some imaginary afterlife. Think about how radical this was. Most philosophies told people to sacrifice worldly happiness for spiritual liberation. Some encouraged extreme asceticism. Others demanded obedience to rituals for future rewards. But Charvaka philosophy asked a dangerous question. Why suffer today for promises nobody can verify? This question threatened religious authority because it encouraged skepticism. And skepticism is powerful. The Charvakas demanded evidence before belief. They accepted perception as valid knowledge because it comes directly from experience. If you see fire, you know fire exists. If you feel heat, you know heat exists. But they were suspicious of inference and testimony when used carelessly. For example, just because smoke usually indicates fire does not mean every unseen thing can be assumed real. Charvakas argued that philosophers were making huge assumptions about invisible worlds without proof.
To them, many spiritual claims were built on imagination rather than evidence. This is why some modern thinkers compare Charvaka philosophy to scientific skepticism and materialism. Of course, ancient Charvakas did not develop modern science, but their insistence on evidence and observation resembles scientific thinking in an important way. They questioned authority. They doubted unverifiable claims. They prioritized observable reality over blind faith. That made them deeply controversial. Religious philosophers attacked Charvaka ideas for centuries. Ironically, most of what we know about Charvaka comes from its critics because original Charvaka texts were lost over time. Schools like Vedanta, Buddhism, and Jainism wrote long arguments against them. In many texts, Charvakas are portrayed almost like villains, people who deny morality, spirituality, and sacred truth. But the fact that so many philosophers argued against them shows how influential they once were. You don't spend centuries attacking a philosophy unless it poses a real challenge. And Charvaka did. It forced Indian philosophy to defend itself. It forced spiritual traditions to explain why people should believe in invisible realities. It forced thinkers to confront difficult questions about evidence, authority, and human happiness. Even today, the questions raised by Charvaka remain surprisingly modern. Can religion exist without fear? Should we believe things without evidence? Is this life all we truly know? Why sacrifice present happiness for uncertain promises? These questions continue to disturb societies even now. And that is why Charvaka remains one of the boldest and most controversial philosophical traditions in Indian history.